You don't care about me anymore.
But I told you not to keep this baby, Sarah.
There lived a man named Richard. He was a business tycoon, a master of the corporate world, and a ruler of the high-stakes game of wealth and power. Richard's empire was vast. His influence felt in every corner of the city. He lived a life of opulence, surrounded by luxury and beauty, with a constant entourage of admirers. And yes, men.com. But behind the polished facade, Richard was a man with a heart of stone. He had no room for sentiment, no space for weakness. His marriage to Sarah, a woman of intelligence and grace, was a calculated move. A strategic alliance to further his business interests. And as for children, Richard had no intention of being tied down. He wanted the freedom to live life on his own terms, to chase the next deal, the next thrill, and the next conquest. His mistresses were many, and he saw no reason to change his ways. But, as the saying goes, pride goes before a fall. Richard's world was about to be turned upside down, and he would soon learn that the game of power and wealth is a game of consequences. Richard's treatment of his wife, Sarah, was cold and calculating. He saw her as a possession, a trophy to be displayed, rather than a partner to be cherished. At home, Richard was dismissive and condescending, often belittling Sarah's opinions and ideas. He would interrupt her, talk over her, and make her feel small and insignificant. When Sarah would bring up the topic of having children, Richard would become irritated, his voice rising in frustration.
Not now, Sarah. I'm busy.
He'd say, waving his hand dismissively.
We can't afford to have children right now. Maybe someday, but not now.
Sarah would try to reason with him, to explain her feelings and desires. But Richard wouldn't listen. He would simply shut her down, telling her she was being emotional and irrational. As time went on, Sarah began to feel trapped and isolated, like she was living in a prison with no escape. She longed for someone to talk to, someone who would understand her and support her. But Richard was too self-absorbed to notice, too caught up in his own world to care. He was a master of manipulation, and he knew just how to keep Sarah in line.
You're just not ready for children, Sarah,
he'd say, shaking his head.
You're not stable enough, not mature enough. But don't worry, I'll take care of you. Just trust me.
And Sarah, blinded by her love for Richard and her desire to please him, would believe him. She would try to be the perfect wife, to meet Richard's every need, in the hopes that someday he would love her back. But that day would never come. Richard was too far gone, too consumed by his own ego and ambition, and Sarah was left to suffer the consequences, trapped in a loveless marriage with a man who didn't care. Sarah's eyes widened as she stared at the pregnancy test, her heart racing with excitement. She had been waiting for this moment for so long, hoping and praying that it would finally happen. She couldn't wait to tell Richard, to share the news with him, and see the look of joy on his face. She rushed to the living room, test in hand, and found Richard sitting on the couch, scrolling through his phone.
Richard, I'm pregnant,
she exclaimed, her voice trembling with excitement. Richard's head snapped up, and for a moment, Sarah saw a flash of shock and dismay in his eyes, but it was quickly replaced by a forced smile.
Congratulations, Sarah,
he said, his voice flat and unenthusiastic.
I didn't expect this.
Sarah's excitement faltered, and she felt a growing sense of unease.
What do you mean? Aren't you happy?
Sarah, we talked about this. We're not ready for children. We can't afford it, emotionally or financially.
Sarah's eyes filled with tears as she realized that Richard was not happy about the pregnancy.
But I am ready,
she said, her voice shaking.
But I want this baby, Richard. I want us to be a family.
Richard's expression hardened, and he stood up, towering over her.
This is the last time I'm asking you, Sarah. Get an abortion. We will try again when we're ready.
Sarah felt like she'd been slapped. She stumbled backward, her hand covering her stomach.
I won't do it. I'm keeping this baby, with or without you.
Richard's eyes narrowed, and a cold, calculating look came over his face.
If you do this, Sarah, there will be consequences. You will regret it.